Q&Asa. Game on daily.
Welcome to the world of Q&Asa. Special edition might all go wrong. Maybe you can hear me, maybe you can't. Maybe I'm on fire right now, maybe you're on fire right now. Or maybe everything's fine. I don't know. I've had a week. I've had some trouble. Yes, painful discourse. It is Ghostwire Tokyo in the background. Welcome everyone that's here, by the way. And welcome those that aren't here but are on their way. Replicant, I see you there. I know you know of my difficulties. Isla, thank you for the thumb. Yes, everybody please retweet. We've got another, I'm not on top chat, we've got another show where I could have done the fuckheads intro again, because there's a lot to talk about. How did I know that you're on fire? I'm hoping that none of you are on fire. But what's hope gonna do for us, eh? What's hope gonna do? Rebellions are built on hope, apparently. Very rarely does that seem applicable to anything, but I say it anyway. What were you doing? What were you playing? That's me getting distracted, monitoring, seeing if things are working, forgetting the format of my own show. So this is Q&Asa. We talk about all the game stuff. It's conversational. We have this back and forth. Before we get into it, a word from our sponsor. Sponsor is Game On Daily. It's webform platform. It's a webform platform. News aggregator, gaming place where you can find out all of the stuff that's going on, and there is a lot going on. Not with me though. I've had a terrible week. Terrible I tells you. Let's go over the show. It's conversational. I say things with my mouth, you say things with your fingers. You can talk to me, you can talk to each other, type in there, and we have a back and forth and talk about whatever we want to talk about. There are some topics lined up, but it'll probably go off the rails and go the directions that it usually goes. So talk as much as you want. Don't say, oh, what's oh, has something broken? I'm panicking, I'm nervous. What else? So that's option one. You talk in there, you talk to me, you talk to each other, we go back and forth. It's a wonderful time. Option two, if that's not good enough for you, you can join Discord. You join the Game On Daily Discord server, pop yourself into the waiting room 2, waiting room B, or waiting room Knuckles, and I can pull you into Discord. You can show your face if you want to, or you can just use your voice. I don't really mind. That's an opportunity. You can have a couple of minutes, you can talk to me, you can talk to everyone, and all the rest of it. If you don't want to do that, but you still insist that your question must be heard, your witty banter must be witnessed, there will be a Q&A box, a YouTube Q&A box. You can stick a message in there. At the end of the show, we go through every single one of those, one at a time. So it'll get addressed. I don't promise to answer everything because I don't know everything. I could say I don't know very much, but stick things in there and we will at least try and read it. And option 4 is, of course, the super chat. Now, what's the minimum price for a super chat this week? If you want a super chat and you want your message to be read, the minimum price for that, I'm at a huge financial deficit this week, so we'll go $5,400 or local equivalent. $5,400 is the minimum price. You'd super chat me that, I will read your message at least once. So that's option 4. There's a secret option 5. If you're really committed, then you can become a badger, join the little membership thing, and then once a month you can sneak through the messaging system. But generally just talk, just relax, just have fun. I'm not one of them that's actually wanting you to throw money at me. You never lurk. Tell everyone. Welcome, Pixel Slapper. We always start talking about games. And we're going to. You're going to tell me all about the games that you've played. I've not played very much because on... Oh, what day did it happen? Monday, maybe? Start of the day, start of the week, I thought, I'm going to become world famous games reviewer and start reviewing games. And then my PC said, no, you're not. And gave me blue screen of deaths everywhere. Blue screen of death, blue screen of death. Every time I launched certain games, not every game, certain games, blue screen of death. Couldn't figure out what the link was. Ended up spending a good 10-15 hours of troubleshooting on there before eventually giving up and going, right, I'm going to have to reinstall Windows. Reinstalled Windows. Lost the entirety of my configuration for this show, which is why I'm nervous of things going wrong. Lost the entirety of the configuration for Go Live, which I haven't recovered yet. And yeah, and reinstalling Windows didn't fix it. Turns out I have a faulty NVMe drive, but it has ruined... Oh, it's ruined so much. Terrible, terrible time. So you're going to have more games played than me. Loads of you hopefully have got onto Lies of P. I can see Painful Discourse has. Who else has got started on that and who's enjoying it? Need to swap it out. You're not wrong, Replicant. It is currently... in my hand. This is the offending drive. I'm still going to treat it fairly carefully because it actually works in some context, and I might stick it in my spare PC. But yes, that is no longer in there. It is out. It is untrustworthy. It is unsafe. I'm lucky it didn't shock my fingers. Read, I'm famous. My GeForce video hit 3,000 views. That's kind of neat. The GeForce Now video that I put on this channel, just showing how fancy it is, didn't perform particularly well at first, but it hasn't slowed down. It keeps ticking up, so that's nice for me. Makes it worth that little bit of time. Doesn't compensate for my PC falling apart. Didn't play Lies of PP, just the demo. Still stuck on other games. Who has played Lies of P? I saw someone say they're playing Gris. Gris is it was on Game Pass for ages, and then it came off, and then it went back on. It was recommended the first time, and people have recommended it the second time, but I have not played it. Peter, you booted it, but you couldn't bear to leave Street Fighter because you are going to be a world champion Street Fighter esports nerd. Peter's always talking about Street Fighter, like most weeks for quite a while now. He's been going on about how excited he was to fly around in Street Fighter. Glad you're enjoying it. Glad you're enjoying it. Tony, you started Lies of P. Need to finish other games first. Pixel, you're going to farm on Lies of P to get to Krat. It's easy. I don't know what Krat is, but I'm going to get there. No, Peter, you don't. You don't hate me. You don't hate me. You hate my NVMe drive. That's a good place for everyone to channel any hate that they've got. But as you got stuck on the first boss on Lies of P, is it? Like a lot of Souls games do the whole first boss is supposed to be almost impossible, and you're either supposed to get killed or avoid it. But is Lies of P a genuine, like, just an obstacle in the road that you have to push through? JJ, you can't put Starfield down over 100 hours in now. I want to be. I'm like 6 hours in or something pathetic like that. One advantage of my NVMe failure and my complete PC reinstall that followed is I can play Red Dead Redemption 2 now. My Achilles heel, my game that wouldn't launch, that also took a lot of hours of effort and troubleshooting. Windows reinstall did the trick on that one. I can play Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a good thing because I was running out of stuff to do on all the other games that I'm playing at the moment. Like 6 hours is probably near the end of Starfield. Almost exhausted all of the content in there. Level 3, I don't think Baldur's Gate 3 goes much further than that. Cyberpunk's got an expansion coming out and I haven't played through Cyberpunk, but that'll probably only take a couple of minutes. What else am I playing at the moment? Oh, I'm doing this reviewing thing, so I'm going to play loads of games to do reviews. Yeah, I think it's a good thing that Red Dead Redemption 2 is there. Otherwise I'd end up like having to do side missions on Spider-Man 2 or something like that. Or contesting Pete in his Street Fighter ambitions. You love the Enver? No, Peter, you don't love it. It's a pain in the ass. Tony, if I review a PC game, you expect me to play on mouse and keyboard only. Tony, here's a funny thing. You probably think I don't like playing on mouse and keyboard. I much prefer mouse and keyboard for most games, shooting games, first-person shooters and that. Absolutely. But it doesn't make as pleasant footage. I stream with a controller, not because I'm a controller junkie, but because the slower, smoother movement is, I think, nicer to watch than a keyboard and mouse flicking everywhere. So I do it for you, effectively. Mostly, partly. Nothing to do with preferring, but you can tell most who review PC games are on a controller. Maybe they have the same reason as me. Or maybe they're just console gamers that got review codes on PC because they're more easily findable. Easier for people just to distribute things over Steam rather than PlayStation or Xbox. Replicants doing tempting things. What is it? Very much like Bloodborne. Yeah, Tom, start. It's on Game Pass. It's right there. You can start it now. I have it downloaded, ready to go. I'm gonna be on Liza P. I've downloaded as much as I could fit with my remaining drives. Have I even started Ghostwire yet? No. This is the scene behind me is the very start of Ghostwire. That's as far as I got. I did make it into, so you walk up that little alleyway and you go to a hospital. That's as far as I got on Ghostwire. K-Med, like, you're not wrong. It is me. You don't need to capitalize my whole name, but you can. You can. A lot of people do. Never fully understood like why that is, but it's just a regular name. Is DLC out? Jizz, DLC for what? For Cyberpunk? It's like 5 days, I think, until that one's around. Ghostwire was fun-ish, repetitive as fuck, but you enjoyed it. It's like, I've been intending to play it. You've got, there are VR mods for that as well, so I could VR Ghostwire to keep it fresh. Time, you know, time. Pazza, how you doing? You got the same hospital in Ghostwire, then not played it since. Yeah, but I didn't fall off of it because I didn't think it was going to be any good. I fell off of it because I was only playing it to record this background. I meant like 5 minutes further, looking for some kind of desk, actually, because I like to have something in front of me. And then I went, fuck it, this like cleaning cart thing will do. I don't need a desk. Then I spent 7 hours sorting out that umbrella that's above my head. It has rain dripping on it. It's very nice. You can't see it, I'm sure. Speaking of can and can't see, because I lost the entirety of my streaming presentation, I am using a fancier codec today. I have redone everything that you can see at great pains, and I'm streaming with AV1, but I know YouTube, and I know that it's not going to make any difference at all. Saying that, if you think you can see a difference, let me know. If you don't think you can see a difference, I agree, you won't see a difference. YouTube's funny with the way that it handles these codecs. I'm still streaming at 1080p. It's still going to give you the worst quality version, and that's necessary for us to be able to have a conversation. Need low latency mode, or I'll be talking and we'll be massively disconnected and off kilt, you know. So what else have we been playing? We had our Sunday session was good again. We did some more Rocket League. We did what else did we play on Sunday? Where's episode 13? You won't notice a difference. The reason that you don't notice a difference is that YouTube takes the AV1 stream and goes, fuck it, and it feeds you something entirely different. If you stream at 1080p, then it sticks to H.264 basically, or even worse, some terrible codec. If I was streaming at a higher resolution, then it would re-encode it to at least a half-decent codec. But it won't. If anybody has questions on how YouTube handles things, I know quite a lot about it these days, so feel free to ask, but I think if I talk about it too much, people's brains will get very fed up and possibly leave their heads. So, Paz, are you watching on PlayStation 5? You're watching on PlayStation 5. Looks D&D. Oh, looks and sounds good. Good, Pazza. Why on earth are you watching on the PlayStation 5? It's... I guess it makes some sense. Halo. Yes, Painful Discourse. We played Halo at the weekend, didn't we? That was kind of fun, actually. Jizza, your game will be out in 2 months. Would I be interested in streaming it? Gore and adult content. What do you mean your game, Jizza? Are you making something? Okay, but it's convenient to have that bottle of lotion on my car. Yeah. Thanks for that. You don't have a PC and you hate watching on a phone. It makes sense. Shall we go on to topics? You're gonna have to fill me in. So I've been fixing my PC for the last like 3 or 4 days. Nothing's happened this week, has it? Not been any like leaks or bits of news breaking that are relevant to gaming and all the rest of it. "2D side-scroller Souls-like with gore and..." Sure, Jizza. I would imagine I would be happy to. I have a difficult relationship with free stuff though, so I'll have to buy it. But that's fine. Baz, what are we saying? Please to. Colour looks better. Nah, colour's the same. Colour's the same. I'm just extra pretty today. Asa is an appropriate name considering my role in the usual Saturday fracas. What do you mean, Peter? You mean because it's really short? Appropriate name because I just like sit there and don't say anything for 3 hours. Baz, please, all digital future. Party Animals Master Chief incoming. So Party Animals will be on this Sunday stream. If you like playing the multiplayer games, hopefully it's cross-platform between various things. I'll probably install it on the Xbox. It seems like a console-y kind of game. So Party Animals will happen on Sunday. Have it installed. There's episode 13. It says it's amazing. You're practicing. You're not allowed to... No. You can't practice ahead of Sunday. I have to win. Let's be honest. Who still buys physical games? Collectors. I did a video on that, coincidentally, a couple of weeks ago. 3 weeks ago? 7 weeks ago? A couple of years ago? I don't know. But let's do it. Let's talk about the Xbox stuff then. So a whole load of things have leaked. It seems the one that's got most of you chomping at the story is the Xbox that's coming out. Gamer, don't do that. That's illegal. The Xbox waste paper bin, tin can, Pringles tube, speaker, Alexa, whatever you want to call it. They are doing a new Xbox Series X. When's it coming out? Did everybody catch the release date on their little graph? I was shy from it. I saw it. I think it said 2025, but it also was probably talking fiscal years, which means it might be... I don't know when it... I couldn't be bothered to think about it too hard. When does it come out? Bum plug? That, like... It's not that much smaller than a Series X, Baz. So if you're sticking it... I just can't recommend that. Kratos, the only time you purchase digital is when there's a great 75 to 90% off. See, I'm a digital heathen. I've been all digital since Rise Son of Rome. I've told this story before, but when I bought the Xbox One, I bought Rise Son of Rome. Purely because I knew it was a one and done game that I could chuck away afterwards. I knew it was short, but I wanted something to play when I got the Xbox home. So at that point in time, I had a 0.5 meg connection. And I didn't want to get the Xbox home and leave it downloading my first game for 2 days. I wanted to play something. So I bought a disc. I bought Rise Son of Rome. That was the last physical thing that I bought. I've got an all-digital PlayStation 5 because 100 quid cheaper, so suits me fine. But at the same time, I totally get the people that like physical and don't want it to go away. As a digital heathen, I want the prices to be different. I don't want digital prices to be coupled to physical prices, but I don't want it to go away because they do have advantages in presentation. They do have advantages in ownership, even though you don't technically own them. And there will always be a market for like niche collector's items. So I'm quite happy for physical to exist in that space, even if all the shops that sell them close down, even if they're quite hard to come by. I don't like the idea that Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, anybody else will take that option away. because it does give them a little too much control over our libraries, even though I submit control. The thing that I always say about always online requirements and things like that, though, is I don't want an always online requirement for the sake of benefiting the distributor and giving them more control over my access to their content. But that's entirely secondary to innovation for me. So if they've got something innovative that they're doing, if they're doing something that actually makes use of that connection to make a game better, you'll hear no complaints from me at all whatsoever. I don't mind losing offline play to gain better play. I just don't want to lose it to gain nothing at all. Evil West, I remember Evil West. I've never played it. Baz, you don't trust digital on PlayStation 5 and Nintendo. It's a weird one because there are things from my childhood that I have on disc. I can look over there at the moment and I can see several discs that I've kept, including some of my absolute favorites that are too precious to get rid of. But I don't know if I still have that connection to games anymore. Like, things are different now. I'm older. I don't know. What about you? Are there any games that you couldn't do without, that you own physically, and you'd be really sad if you had a house fire? Most games these days need updates. The disc isn't that useful anyways. That's true, Jizza. But also, different publishers are at different places on that one. If you get a disc from Microsoft, then you probably get nothing on it. If you're lucky, you get an Xbox One version of the game on it. If you get a disc from Sony directly, I think they typically have a rough version of the game on the disc. You're missing your day one patch and all of these things that make it pleasant to play, but you do have something. And I think Nintendo probably have the whole thing on the little cartridge because Nintendo don't understand the internet. Third-party publishers, that's all a little bit different. Can you link a tweet, Jizza? Have you got me on Twitter? Can you send it to me on there? I don't think YouTube will let you link a tweet. That's not something that I can go and change very easily. But if you send it to me on Twitter DM, then I will have a look. Replicant, you've got no physical discs from Gen 8 forwards. Which one was Gen 8? Is that the Xbox One? Did you stop at the same time as me? I think Steam and the PC space probably led me away from physical games without me really considering what was being lost or compromised. Episode 13, be patient. I know what you're going to ask. Well, I don't know how you're going to frame it, but I know what's coming. Tony, you pre-ordered the Xbox Series X digital. No, you didn't, you fuck nugget. Can't pre-order that yet. Zenith, how you doing? What else have we got? So, can I bring up the Xbox Series X thing? Of course I can. Of course I can. I can't be bothered though. It's not that interesting to look at. So, it's a Series X. It has no disk drive, but it has 2 terabytes of storage in there. It's got a newer standard of Wi-Fi, so Wi-Fi 6E. Very nice if you want to use wireless virtual reality. Obviously, Xbox don't. And it's got a USB-C port on the front. Woohoo! There's some discussion on whether they're going to be selling it alongside the Xbox Series X that exists today, or whether it's going to be replacing it. Because it looks very likely that it's going to replace it. The wording of their internal presentation implied that it was a refresh, and they were going to stop making the current one with the disk drive. No news on whether they will be releasing an external disk drive or anything like that. Your parents' house has space. Your parents' house has space. Oh, for all of your old stuff. Yeah. Peter, when you were in dev, centuries ago, your kids had some Nintendo dev carts that you were working on for your games that never got released. They're now in their 30s and still talk about those games. Game love. Yeah, I never get outside of about 3 or 4 foot from Panzer Dragoon Saga. I keep it with me at all times. Obviously not true, that would be weird, but good, so you can sell yours for a higher price. Maybe, Sony. Maybe they'll become really valuable, like 10 years after Xbox exit the gaming market entirely. People will be buying Xbox Series X with a disc drive for stupid amounts of money. You never know. Guerrero Shelley, sorry if I'm saying that horribly wrong. You bought Cyberpunk for $10 physical. Digital is 50. Physical is important. Yeah, Cyberpunk has been down to about $10 digitally though. If your timing is right, it has been that cheap. But yes, physical, like, there are massive advantages to it, particularly when you consider that Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo can cut your access off for no reason if they want to, and there's fuck all you can do about it. And that's a massive disadvantage for the consumer that shouldn't be brushed under the carpet as insignificant, because it is insignificant. You can say I don't personally care about it, I don't think I'm going to get banned, but it is a massive compromise in like our rights over our own games. Just to know that we don't have that power. Like, they can just take that away. They can say, want to play your Xbox, do you? Don't like your name, it's too short, not going to let you play it now, and there will be nothing you could do about it. So that's a problem. Tom, you got Control Ultimate Edition a while back for about a tenner physical. It was double that digital. And Tony, you got Cyberpunk Day 1 pre-ordered deluxe Big Mac meal with ray tracing tits on the side. Good. There was nothing about that sentence that I didn't like apart from the word pre-ordered. Who's playing Cyberpunk when that comes out next week? Who's getting straight on Phantom Liberty? No, focus. Do answer my question about Cyberpunk. I very much want to get on it, and I'm probably going to start it again. Probably going to pancake it. But who else is? You tag me on. Wait. Jesus, I'm getting it. I'm getting Twitter open. Here it comes. Here it comes. Shall I get Twitter open or shall I get X open? You called it X. So I'm going to type in X. I've got to log in. One moment. I can't remember how to log in. Let's try a different browser. So because my PC was wiped, certain things that I take for granted are not set up and not working. But right, notifications. Here we go. Here we go. I don't have it. What have you done? Jizza, who did you tag in? What have you done? I can't find it. Guerrero, you're going to be straight onto Cyberpunk. Let's do the big question. For people that are looking forward to Phantom Liberty, do you already like Cyberpunk? Or at what point in the lifespan of Cyberpunk did you get to liking it? Did you love it when it came out? Did you love it when patch 1.5 came out? Oh, here we go, 4 minutes ago. 1 second. Check this. One moment, everyone. Oh, okay. So for reference, I'm going to bring it up here real quick. So Jizzaloop is linking this Apple. Don't play sound. Linking the playing of Resident Evil via an iPhone 15 Pro. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit, Jizza. No worries. No worries. I had seen that, yeah. Close. So JJ, you loved the game, but you played it after the Xbox showcase. Which showcase? When was that? Tony, you're still playing Assassin's Creed 6. Very nice, very nice. Which one was that? Was that like Syndicate? Which one was Black Flag? Was 4? Unity 5? You're playing Assassin's Creed. Is Syndicate right? I'm going with that. And yes, I know you're not actually talking about it. Side quests were great in the main story. So I like Cyberpunk a lot. It was a mess when it came out. My point of considering it turned around was the 1.5 patch, where actually it performed just fine. Bugs were still there, but on the level you kind of expect from a game of that scale. And I like how much you can blow up. Ali, you're watering flowers in Assetto Corsa. You are not going to win the race by watering flowers. Replicant, yes, you should know this soundtrack. Tony should also know this soundtrack. Everyone should know this soundtrack. It's definitely a game that you should have played. Episode 13, you've got a question ready. Be patient. It will be there when I was finished watering the flowers. What else have we got? I'm confused. So, is anybody excited about the new Xbox? Or does anybody doubt that it's going to release? So obviously what we saw was Microsoft plans at a point in time, like 2 years ago maybe. I'm not sure at what point these plans were drawn up, but they leaked from the court case. Microsoft's lawyers presumably uploaded a PDF, they scribbled out some of the text, and they left a whole load of embedded attachments that were completely laid bare all of Xbox's plans and things. The X cylinder, do we believe that it's going to come out? Do we think there's a chance that Microsoft are going to change their plans? Personally, I look at the Xbox cylinder and go, what? Like, they're going to get pissed on for 3 years if they release that. What's the point? It's definitely not a thing that's enticing for me to buy, which makes me wonder who the audience is for it. But Dennis, you're a PC player, so you've got no real opinion on it. Fair enough. It's hard because, like, Sony's PlayStation 5 Pro that was rumored, I will be very, very surprised if it doesn't release with the exact specs that we've seen in the leaks, because they're solid leaks. So another version of the Series X to go up against the PlayStation 5 Pro is like, it's an uncomfortable situation for Microsoft in terms of the higher end console space. And obviously that's not the only place that they're competing, because the Series S is still going to be around doing its thing. They've still got the entry point console space to themselves in a way. Replicant is definitely Final Fantasy, but you've got to be more specific, because that's like 20 different games. Pixel, you saw my bin tweet. Yeah. It's only exciting if any software works substantially better than the current model. So the only area of improvement that is curious is they mentioned, I've already mentioned it's got the Bluetooth, it's got, I didn't mention Bluetooth, but it has got Bluetooth now. It's got USB-C and whatever else I said, Wi-Fi 6E. These are the improvements, but also improved I/O. So they've made some enhancement to something that is actually a little bit more fundamental, the speed of reading and writing to its drive. I very much doubt it's going to be substantial, and they're obviously not going to design games around it, but in terms of performance increase, that's about it. That's what you're looking at. No, it's not Final Fantasy 16. It's the good one. It's the good one, chosen today for a reason. Although I hear that 16 does have fantastic music, and I will play it soon. Tony, I'm not on top chat. I'm nervously looking around making sure that the stream is still running, because, like I say, I had to redesign everything today. Yes, Replicant. What a freaking awesome game the Final Fantasy VII Remake was. I definitely have to play that again before Rebirth comes out. How long have I got? I can fit that in alongside Cyberpunk and Red Dead Redemption 2 and Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3 and Lies of P. And virtual reality. Oh, Skyrim's so good. Skyrim is so good. Exactly, Blaze. I mean, sure. That cup's transparent. Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's got a little vacuum pocket to try and keep the coffee warm. It's not really working. Important comments and questions go here. The Q&A box is open now, so if you want to stick anything in there, stick it in there, and we will go through all of those at the end of the show. Tony, I'm not going to argue with you, because what you're saying is ridiculous. I don't need to argue. Ridiculous. Quite upsetting as well. I'm going to play Final Fantasy 15 again just to spite you, just to show you how boring it is. I'm going to play Final Fantasy 15 on stream and just spend like hours doing awful side missions to prove a point. Was there anything good announced at Tokyo Game Show? Let's get to Tokyo Game Show in a little bit, because we've got all of this Xbox stuff to go through and we've not got anywhere yet. So general vibe I'm getting is no one really cares about the refresh of the Series X. Doesn't do anybody any harm, but nobody's excited for it. What about the bigger, further out half reveal of the next Xbox platform in 2028? Have you been following that? Have you seen what they've said they're going to do? It's obviously not as far along in terms of development and all the rest of it, but they're talking of a cloud and native hybrid device that has some processing capacity like on board, but is made to play hybrid games that are local and cloud, which is pretty freaking bold if they really like lean into it, and pretty freaking interesting if they lean into it, but like very high risk as well. What do we think? Is that what's going to happen? You think it could be brought forwards from 2028? The problem with that, Replicant, and I don't disagree, if they're looking at the situation with like trailing Sony in that and not making much headway in any other spaces, they might want to bring it forwards. But if its signature feature is like cloud native games or hybrid games, they'll have a hard time getting them ready early enough, because that's quite a transformation in the way that games are made, like, and conceptualized altogether. It does make me wonder if the Xbox trash can diskless version is supposed to take a lot of heat. If they are releasing an all digital console on purpose to time when they take that heat, so that by the time they get to their requires the cloud console a few years later, people have calmed down a little bit. But that might just be wild theory. I can't imagine they'd build a whole console just for that convenience. Still, might work out for them. Take the heat, test the reception, let people burn out all of their rage on a console they never actually were going to get in the first place, and then maybe it'll be a bit more muted when they announce their new platform that requires a connection all the time because the games are running partially in the cloud. I have always said though that like that's what I want Microsoft to do with their being Microsoft. That's the area that they can leverage to deliver us games that we've never seen before. They're Microsoft and they have a massive cloud infrastructure that Sony and Nintendo can't use in the same way. But well, use it, give us fancy stuff. I'll even pay for Xbox Live Gold if you do it right, which they just got rid of, I know. We all need chimneys, yeah. They should delay Elder Scrolls to be one of the first games for next gen. JJ, like, the potential for Elder Scrolls there is really high as well. It's actually not a bad shout. I'm sure that Todd Howard and Bethesda have their own ideas for what Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be. But if you consider what cloud hybrid devices, like the advantages of it, persistent large worlds are the thing that it can do. So Elder Scrolls 6 would be, yeah, like a fantastic fit for it. But we shall see. We shall see. I don't think they'll need to delay it. I don't think it's coming out before then either way. But also handheld. So Dennis, I don't think their console is going to be handheld, but the so what they have on their slide is that the operating system that they're making for this hybrid device could potentially be run off device as well. It could be run on a portable device or something else. So the cloud hybrid concept could be taken off console and onto a portable or potentially a phone or a TV or whatever else. Which makes you wonder how good it's going to be in terms of local play, because the industry isn't suddenly going to turn on a dime and have everything cloud native in 2028. It's not only a new OS, no, it'll be hardware as well. But what kind of hardware? I mean, we're going on very little hard information there, but I didn't get the impression that it will have no local capabilities. It will be a specific spec of hardware. Controller options that have made you want a PC. Controllers are a good point, Tom. That was the other thing that's coming out. The more enticing part of the Xbox Series trash can is that new controller. Who's going to buy one of those? Who's surprised by it? No one's that surprised by it, right? Because they've been fairly open that they wanted to pursue haptics since the launch of the PlayStation 5 and Series X. They said they liked what was going on with haptics and they wanted to pursue that. And every new controller that they've released of the Elite series, so every controller that's got paddles and such, has been missing the share button. So to me, I've been expecting a new range of controllers, because that share button's not there. So they haven't brought the Elite series up to date with the new console. Clearly there was something new coming. Now we're getting to see what's coming. Will the controller work on the older models? Yes, it will, Tony. It supports the old protocol. It supports Bluetooth. It supports direct to cloud play as well. So yes, it'll work on the older models. Whether the haptics, like presumably there's going to be some kind of translation layer that turns rumble into haptics, but yeah, essentially the new controller, if you haven't seen it, is like it's got a chunk of the features from the DualSense. Basically, it's still shaped like an Xbox controller. The image on the poster looks slightly misshapen, but there was a note on it as well that said it is ergonomically the same as the current Xbox controllers. So I think when it actually releases, it's going to look like a normal Xbox controller, maybe with this two-tone color. But it's got, from the DualSense, it's got haptics, so you'll be able to feel the rain in your hands or whatever. It's got accelerometers, so you can do the gyroscopic movement, like aim with your hands or whatever, which I never use, but potentially nice to have. And it can use the haptics to generate audio, so it's essentially got an onboard speaker as well. So it's taken everything that the DualSense does besides the swipey pad and the resistance triggers, and putting an Xbox layer on it. Replicant, the leaks showed that they were either going to Ryzen or potentially ARM, both I think. So from what I gather from the leaks, Replicant, or my interpretation, is that their console iteration of the hardware will probably be AMD and Ryzen, but because the operating system is what it is, it will be able to run on devices of varying architectures, including ARM. So if they have a portable version, or if they have partners making portable things, it will work on both. And yes, they said they didn't know on the GPU whether they'd go custom or off the shelf, but early days for it. But the cloud hybrid concept is just it's quite interesting, because that's a strong choice. That's really picking a direction that is, I think, pretty high risk. Could have a big payoff. But you're interested to see if the replaceable joysticks are non-drift. I think that's the idea of them, Peter. I mean, if they were non-drift, they wouldn't need to be replaceable, would they? So much, unless you're talking about different sizes, different heights like you get on the Elite. But they showed the new Swery Suda 51 project. They did, didn't they? It looks rather low spec, but there won't be a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One nor a Switch version. You're guessing that they're going straight to the Switch successor. That whole story is odd. I'm going to bring up that Tokyo Game Show is going to be later. Really quickly, is there anything else from Xbox before we go into Tokyo Game Show? And what we'll do, Dennis, is we'll start Tokyo Game Show with the Swery Suda 51 project. Is there anything else from the Xbox leaks? Because there was a lot of shit leaked, and there's probably some other things that you've seen and heard and talked about. But is there anything else that you want to talk about now from that? You've got loads of Bethesda games, most notably, yes, you've got Doom Year Zero, nice little Doom prequel, you would think. You've got Dishonored 3. What else was there from the Bethesda games leaks? Some other stuff that's harder to be interested in, Elder Scrolls Online stuff and Fallout 76 stuff, but Dishonored and Doom were the big ones, as well as some dates that they missed by a long way. Like Indiana Jones was supposed to come out in 2022 alongside the film and all the rest of it. A couple of remasters, yes, there was Oblivion and Fallout 3 remasters, weren't there? Feel bad for the team of people that have been remaking Oblivion in Skyrim for the last decade or something, to get gazumped at the end. But a few code names for unannounced titles too. What code names? Give me a code name. I know all of the code names. I'll tell you what game it is. Apparently Microsoft makes less revenue than PlayStation but more profit. Oh, Dennis, I wouldn't read into that so directly. I think from the court case, from the words that they used in court, Microsoft have better margins of profit, not necessarily more profit. The graph that's going around, I think Derek Strickland from Tweaktown put a graph together using Microsoft's, what did they call it, accountability margins, and trying to chart that against Sony's operating profit or whatever. They're not the same though. You can't side by side them like that, because nobody really knows what Microsoft's accountability margins are. Closest I could find on accountability margins was like contribution margins. The difficulty is that accountability margins within Microsoft's own accounting makes sense within Microsoft's own accounting, and they can do their year-on-year results and they can set their targets, and it makes a lot of sense side by side. But you take it outside of that context and start comparing it with other numbers, you're going apples and oranges there. So you don't, like, it's good that they've got these numbers and hopefully they're hitting their targets or whatever else. But I wouldn't look at it, because the number is so close to Sony's number as well. I wouldn't look at that and say that these are the same thing, therefore the higher number is better, because that's taking a leap that you can't really take. I will leave that in the territory of the unknown. Tony, game is a certified cockroach. It won't die, but you're going to play it once with me on Sunday. Tony, what game? What's happening? Oh, the Phil Spencer emails about wanting to buy Nintendo. Yeah, that was a talking point, wasn't it? It's like, do you know what was more interesting in that? There's a couple of things. Phil wanting to buy Nintendo was the story that got run away with. And I'm sure he would love to. I'm sure Sony would buy Nintendo if they had the opportunity as well. And so would EA, and so would Activision, and so would anybody else. Because who wouldn't want Nintendo, right? But Phil's email wasn't, like, there wasn't intent in there to actually do it. He was just explaining to the people in his team that, yeah, it would be lovely. We can't do it as a hostile takeover. And it's not likely to happen anytime soon in an amicable way. That's Nintendo, like. But it also had in that same email, bracketed, like, would be allowed to buy Nintendo, brackets, and Valve. Like that was just a given throwaway comment. Everybody knows that Microsoft are intending to buy Valve kind of tone to it. So that's something. That won't go down well in the PC space, that's for sure. I also don't think they would be allowed that one. But it seems to be a given that they would want to, which I kind of speculated might be feasible a few years ago, because I don't think Gabe Newell wants to run Valve forever. Could I see him selling to Microsoft? Well, a few years ago, like when I was talking about it a couple of years ago, they seem to be on pretty good terms. But Microsoft can't have Steam, right? That would be a problem that I can't imagine would get through regulators. And the Steam audience would hate it. But I can't see Gabe staying there forever, and he could sell if he wanted to, right? I think they're privately owned. I don't know. Welcome, Illegal Dad. How you doing? The other things that came out from that email from Phil, though, is, okay, so they want to buy Valve. It's not happened yet, which means it's probably not going to happen, hopefully. They would love to buy Nintendo, so would everybody, but they can't. They also mentioned in there that Nintendo have a board of directors that aren't particularly, like, pressured by the thought of growth and capitalism. And that's wonderful. Like, carry on, Nintendo. I like them now. Nintendo can be my favorite of the big three companies, even though I don't like any of their games or hardware. Because they sound nice and friendly and wholesome, as corporations go. There was something else, though. What was it? Oh, the price increases. So they said there was an email from Phil looking at the consoles launching, celebrating that the Xbox Series X was stronger than the PlayStation 5, like by on-paper specs, and how good that was for Microsoft. And there was another one that had their response when PlayStation increased their price. And this one, I'm surprised, hasn't been picked up on more. Because they said, in response to the PlayStation 5 increase in their price, that they should have a gamer's first approach. And the person they was talking to, I can't remember the name, but they said we should have a gamer's first approach because we're not out of the woods yet. Fuck's sake, keep them in the woods, please. Forever. Keep Microsoft in the woods forever. And we might get a lot out of it. Because I don't know what they would have said if they were like, yeah, we're out of the woods now, we can do whatever the fuck we want. No, keep them in the woods. Keep them in the woods, and then they'll put us first and try really hard to be nice. And then we all win, right? They'll not buy Steam. That's all just hot air. Because Steam, I get you. I'm sure they'd love to buy Steam. I don't think Gabe Newell would necessarily be the most resistant to selling Steam. But it would create problems in the market. Phil thought about stomping Fallout 76, but that changed. Yeah, that does quite well for itself now, I think. Fallout 76. Don't know who its audience is or where they come from, but I think there's plenty of people playing and spending there. Illegal Dad, you've been playing Starfield for the last 3 weeks, but you've been catching up on my streams. I'm not very good. Look, I'm playing it on hard, and your comment is fair. I'm not. I was getting, last time I played it, I was getting a little bit frustrated though, because the geometry didn't match the visuals at all. So I'm like trying to snipe people and the bullets are hitting invisible walls in front of me. That was a bit irritating. You play it on hard, Illegal Dad, and you'll probably be fine. I'm not doing very well. You're not wrong. But am I having fun? Sometimes I'm having fun. Okay then, Illegal Dad. I raise you play it on hard, but also try and stream and have conversations at the same time. That's my excuse. It does make things a lot more difficult. Tony, Nintendo needs another Wii U travesty, charging $70 for new games. No, Nintendo needs a massive success story that suits my tastes a little more. I'm terrible at the space combat, Illegal Dad. I cannot do it. As soon as I get into space, I just get exploded. Dennis, you think that you're going to wait for Street Fighter until the first or second expansion? You can see Starfield having its Cyberpunk 2 moment too. I'm not sure. Not sure. What do you think that they need to change for it to, like, I'm not sure it needs redeeming in the same way as Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk had like massive negative rep, whereas Starfield is, like, at the very least I'd say it's mixed, but probably broadly positive. People like Starfield. What do you think they would need to change to like flip its reputation in a good way? Yes, Replicant, there are definitely legs from mods, but that doesn't like that doesn't diminish Bethesda's responsibility for it. So if there is something that they could change that would make people go, oh, this is the game we always dreamed of now. Strap the Switch to my face and I will love it. No, Baz. I'm a virtual reality connoisseur who appreciates the finer lenses. I'm not going to strap a Switch to my face. Isla, you did a good tweet. I'm glad about that. I'm glad that you're glad about that. But I don't know what it is. It's a panda. In response to the controllers. Okay. We can share this. This is the controller that I was talking about. Let's bring that up big for a second. So it looks a little flatter than the normal controller, but it does specifically say it has the same ergonomics as Merlin, and I don't think they're talking about the Wizard. Merlin was the name of one of the previous controllers. And yes, it has a panda color scheme. Is this the second run? So Tim, that hurts. That hurts. Yes, we had that come out of it as well. So one of the many exciting documents that leaked was Microsoft's estimates of what it would cost and what the impact would be for various games to come to Game Pass. And the one that caught people's attention was Baldur's Gate 3. As this was, I assume, a couple of years old. They were making their predictions of like how big a splash things would make. And they had Baldur's Gate 3 as, we'd only need to pay $5 million to get this into Game Pass. So it was like the lowest tier of prices of the games that they had listed. And they had like impact. They called it a hub, but hub presumably meant bad, like not a big deal. And they described it in their briefest of game descriptions as a second run Google Stadia and PC RPG. Whoever, like, with hindsight, it's really easy to say, well, that's a mistake. At that point, it was still a Stadia exclusive. Yeah, at that point, it was still a Stadia. Well, they must have known at that point that it wasn't going to stay exclusive, or it wouldn't have been on the list, right? But it was going to be at least, like, I think it was supposed to be a year exclusive on Stadia and PC. And yeah, second run probably literally just means like it's not going to have the same hype as a day one thing. Just like when if Final Fantasy VII Remake came to Xbox, it would be second run because it's been elsewhere before, and it does diminish the impact of it. So I don't think they meant it in like a derogatory, this game is going to be bad kind of way. But with the benefit of hindsight, seeing how well Baldur's Gate 3 did in the PC space, which is where Microsoft most want to grow at the moment, PC and cloud, wow, did they miss out not going for that. Terrible lapse in judgment. Not so much the wording, I don't care about what they said. I don't think they were wrong in that. But it would have made a splash in the PC space. Tim, same person did it. Wait. We're talking about reviewers. Who's reviewed what? Phil is saying he will show the new plans when they're ready. Do I think that VR will eventually come to Xbox? Pazza, don't taunt me with your virtual reality. No, I don't. You need pilot skills and crew that add to the ship's bonuses. I can't get those things, Illegal Dad. I go into space, I get blown up. So, Dennis, you think the turning point for Starfield will be performance? So you mean, are you talking about the console version there specifically? Because you're a PC player, aren't you? And performance for me on PC. I've not heard people complaining about it. And that's not to say people aren't. This is like very anecdotally. The people that I personally know that are playing on PC haven't been upset by the performance. And that's not just people with ridiculous PCs, like across a fair range. But on the console, performance is obviously a much bigger question mark, because a lot of people want to see those nice high frame rates there. Peter, it might be a strange thing to say, but if Xbox threw in the towel, you wouldn't be mortified. It'd been a great ride. You would just totally convert to PC. Without any malice, you can't see a reason to go to PlayStation. Yeah, so that's the other thing. It's really whizzing through all of the leaks at once. Wayne, welcome. How you doing? Everyone underestimated Baldur's Gate 3. Not me, because I really... No. I underestimated it, like the commercial impact it would have, but I didn't necessarily underestimate how well received it would be, because Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 were both high flyers with their reception as well. Didn't think it would sell loads. Don't know that it has sold loads outside of the PC, but so the other thing that came out, conversation in court case, there was a chart from marketing showing projections for Xbox Game Pass over the next like up to 2030 maybe, and Phil Spencer disputed them in court, saying like they're not his team's projections, they're projections that some other department was showing to him as part of making a case for something or other. And if those projections had played out in the way that that chart suggested, he thinks that Xbox would leave the gaming business entirely in about 2027, 2028. These were words that were being said in court with the intent of convincing a judge that Microsoft should be allowed to buy Activision Blizzard King, or the worst is going to happen and they have to leave and all the rest of it. So how much you read into it is it's up to you, really. I don't think it was entirely a lie, though. I've always questioned, well, not always, but when people talk about Microsoft being all in on gaming, so that famous meeting where Phil Spencer saved Xbox, went to Satya Nadella, painted a rosy picture of what the division could be, came out of that meeting with Microsoft saying they're all in on gaming. There's always been a question on what that rosy picture looked like. So what had Phil Spencer promised that the gaming landscape would look like, and how long has he got to achieve it? Are they on target to achieve it? Those are serious questions, and I don't think he was speaking entire falsehoods when he said that if Microsoft were stuck on like the point of those projections, he'd failed and they'd have to leave. It's a very different situation if they spend 70 billion. You can't, even Microsoft aren't going to put in that kind of money and then close down a couple of years later before it's had any time to really come to fruition. So the Activision Blizzard King deal is going to close, and I think the question of Microsoft leaving the gaming business behind is no longer a question at that point. K-Med, the Xbox name will be in gaming for quite a long time, but in what form, you're not sure. I always find that part of it like curious. I can't tell with the Xbox fans, like the real like, Xbox fans. I don't know if they like Microsoft, like they do like Microsoft in their behaviors and attitudes, but I'm talking about the people whose behaviors and attitudes are like ridiculous. Like, do they like Xbox? And do they like Microsoft as a separate entity? Because the way that I look at Xbox and the way that I look at Microsoft, obviously corporations being corporations doing what they're going to do, but I look at Phil Spencer's leadership of Xbox and consider him like a necessary wall between Xbox and Microsoft, like keeping the bad parts at bay as best as he can. Because I don't trust Microsoft whatsoever in terms of gaming. And why would I? Like, they're not a gaming company as such. I know they've got historical things that they've done with Flight Simulator and whatever else in years gone by, but their board are not interested in gaming and will pick it down to the bones if they get the choice. I consider like the current Xbox leadership very necessary in keeping Xbox good. But that means like I like Xbox and want them to thrive. I don't care if they leave Microsoft. If Xbox were to exist as a separate entity from Microsoft entirely, I don't know if that would be better or worse. But are you supposed to like Microsoft as a gamer? Like, I play games, I love playing games. Microsoft are a great company. Or a Microsoft a shit company, but they've got Xbox that you like. I don't know, it's a weird one. It's a curious situation. Age of Empire, Motocross Madness, Flight Sim, yes. Microsoft definitely had like eyes on and part interest in gaming at various points through the years before Xbox, including one of my favorite games, Asheron's Call 2. Microsoft were desperate to get a service game before service games were a thing. Xbox on its own, no money. Well, there is that, Peter. Like the Xbox division on its own actually being able to stand up. And like I said earlier, when I'm talking about Microsoft and what they can bring, the idea of their cloud infrastructure actually doing something good for gaming is what I want Microsoft to do. Like that's the appealing part of them as a company. But I don't know, like people get confused. No, Gamer, don't laugh at Asheron's Call. I loved Asheron's Call 2 very much. And it fell apart when Microsoft sold it off to Turbine. But that is a funny one because this was in the, like, wow, what's the main one called? EverQuest. EverQuest was the successful monthly subscription game back in those days. And Microsoft really wanted a piece of games as a service before games as a service existed. Illegal Dad, no one's allowed to play Party Animals until Sunday. That's cheating because I have to win. No practicing. Sunday at 9 o'clock, so the same time this show started today, will be Community Party Animals. I'm going to be as good at that as I am at Starfield. So no practicing. They showed the Ori characters for Party Animals. Very cute. Yeah. 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 That makes it like Fall Guys vibes, and Fall Guys is terrible to me. I don't want Party Animals to be like that. To be fair, Fall Guys wasn't far off of being a good game. It just didn't quite reach it. You think you have a blood clot in your arm? I hope that you don't. Microsoft just needs to make a game with the initials. No, Tom, because Microsoft published Asheron's Call and they did not flourish. Microsoft published Asheron's Call 2. They did not flourish. Microsoft needs to stay away from the things that I like. They're not allowed to touch VR games. They're not allowed to touch AC games. Episode 13, stop cheating. It's having a hard time on Steam. What, Party Animals is having a hard time on Steam? That's why they can't dump games. The cloud driver. Like, Porn used to drive tech. Now cloud drives. Now games drive it. Dunno. I mean, if you consider like the cloud side of gaming to be inevitable, Microsoft don't necessarily need to own Xbox to be able to serve that. There are other ways. I don't think, you know, something. If Microsoft decided they don't want Xbox anymore, they wouldn't necessarily drop their cloud aspirations. They wouldn't drop PlayFab and all the rest of it, like the things that power gaming's from a cloud perspective. But I'm not saying that they are going to drop it. Like I say, I fully expect Activision Blizzard King to be closed very soon and Microsoft to be there or thereabouts with gaming for like at least another decade, probably more. Because of the always online stuff, lots of bad reviews for Party Animals. Party Animals, honestly, I've got no idea what Party Animals is. I don't know what kind of game it is. So I don't know if the always online stuff makes sense or if it's a travesty. I look at that game and go, yeah, online party game. So obviously it being online doesn't do me any harm. But if it has a single player campaign and they're making you stay online for no reason, just to like protect their microtransactions or something, then I guess I can see why people on Steam would hate that. Nonetheless, I'm going to download it on Game Pass, invite everyone to play, and we're going to do it. The Xbox lineup looks good for the first time. Do you know, Xbox had like a really positive place in the news cycle around the launch of the Series X and for the first year, where everything was going well and everyone spoke positively. Everyone loves their back compat, everyone loves their cross-gen strategy and all the rest of it. Then they had this terrible 2022 or whatever. They are currently dominating news again, and they might not be dominating sales and all the rest of it, but week in, week out, like last week was, there's loads to talk about and it's all Xbox stuff, and this week there's loads to talk about and it's all Xbox stuff. So their PR department are doing something right, and their games library that we're seeing, the ones that we're supposed to be seeing and the ones that we're not, it looks like they're in a strong place for like the foreseeable future at least. Which is nice. I'm not saying that means that Sony and Nintendo are in trouble or anything like that, but it is nice to see a rejuvenated Xbox with games to release and things to do. Peter, you think it will be a laugh for us? Party Animals will be. Yes. Well, I hope so anyway. Gang beasts with hairy asses. Are they furry creatures? I know that they're supposed to be animals, but takes some rendering to put fur on them, you know. COVID hurt Xbox, yes. If you looked at the Bethesda games scheduling, so what they were supposed to release there, they had like Elder Scrolls 6 for 2024, Starfield was like 2021, Indiana Jones was supposed to be out already. It gave a good look at the scale of delays and impact of COVID when you looked at what Bethesda thought they were going to do versus what they could actually do, and then consider the same thing happened like everywhere else. Everywhere else had the same kind of delays. So yes, it hurt Xbox. It's weird though, because if you were to compare players, if you looked at Xbox, Nintendo and PlayStation, and you tried to assess who would be hit hardest by COVID and who would be able to ride it out easiest, you'd have to assume that Xbox could ride it out easiest on account of the fact that they are the cloud company. They are the ones that were best suited to be able to pivot to remote work. In theory, they have all the tools and all of the technology and all of the infrastructure to be least impacted. And that's not to say that that makes it really easy for them, but just if you were to look at those three and every other publisher out there. Whereas weirdly, there's two publishers that I think stood out as being not entirely resistant to COVID, but recovering well. One of them, Ubisoft, I think their impact was fairly delayed. So Ubisoft carried the launch of the consoles with Watch Dogs Legion and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They were like the only publisher that managed to do anything at that point in time. Like they got hit after that, and they've been very quiet since then, and they've got Skull and Bones going on. The one that financially rode it best or recovered best, I'm going to leave that to you. This is there is a correct answer on this. Which publisher best recovered from COVID financially? Dennis, to be fair, you can't understand why people are angry. Usually, you play your party games local, and you can still do that, but you need to be in an open room on the servers. So they advertised an offline mode. Yeah, I get. I understand people being angry with online requirements. Like the Steam user base are used to being treated pretty well. They're quite strong in their demands for open standards and all of these kind of things that Valve have typically been pretty decent on. And like I said earlier, for me, if you want to force an online requirement, you got to give me something in return. Like, it's got to be worth that online requirement. Doesn't sound like Party Animals is necessarily ticking that box, but Jizza, which was one of the best games? Are you talking about Elden Ring? No, you don't like Elden Ring. What's your best game that was made during COVID? Animal Crossing? No, publisher. Definitely wasn't Ubisoft. No, it wasn't Ubisoft. Is it Nintendo who bounced back most successfully? So I say that there's a correct answer. I'm speaking out my ass because there's not necessarily a correct answer. Of the publishers, it was Activision Blizzard King who took the least harm from COVID. Doom Eternal, was that during COVID? It seems like it should be older. Activision Blizzard King, even though Call of Duty Vanguard looked like a sack of shit to me, everything that they did financially, they were way on top of it very, very quickly. They were considered to be pretty much back to pre-COVID levels while everybody else was still in recovery mode. Doom and Animal Crossing came out on the same day. Yes, I know, I remember the artworks. I see a nice virtual reality mod for Doom Eternal is close to release as well, so that's going to be fun and nauseating. There's videos of ID Software or id Software working from home. I mean, everyone had to work from home, didn't they? It's just I mean, in Ubisoft's case, those games were probably at the tail end of development at the point that they all had to go home. Well, what's next? I think that's enough for Microsoft and Xbox leaks, isn't it? Let's really quickly, because this one won't take as long. Let's talk about the thing. Apple's phone, Resident Evil. Did anybody see that video on Twitter? It's not like a big topic because there's not a whole lot to say, but it was it Village or 4 that they were playing? I've not played either of those Resident Evil games. I'm going to assume it was Resident Evil Village. For someone with an iPhone 15 Pro connected to their TV via USB-C and playing with the DualSense controller. So let's see, I must still have it here because Jizza sent it to me earlier. Give me a second. Yeah, no. I'm going to bring up the Twitter version. Where's my music gone? Oh, it's still playing. So, here with no sound because I don't want sound. In fact, why is there sound? There should be sound. Yeah, there should. This is it. This is what they're showing. It is Resident Evil being played on a phone connected to a monitor or TV, whatever that is, with a DualSense controller. And people are seeing that because the news broke last week that these Resident Evil games, like console quality or console parallel games, were coming natively to the iPhone 15 Pro. Is it impressive? Is it a game changer? Jizzaloop, you think it's a game player. Replicant, you don't care. It's a curious one because I'm actually really underwhelmed by this showing. I had my doubts anyway, but people talk about the amount of power in the iPhone 15, whatever. It's going to be like a 1,500 monies phone, so I'm not super impressed by it being able to trade blows with a console when it costs 3 times as much. But putting that aside, it is a small device. This is running at 720p 30 frames per second. Like, I'm surprised at how far away from consoles this device is based on this showing that they put here. 720p 30 frames per second. And it's funny because the phone is probably powerful enough to do way better than that, but they've got a USB 2 standard port on there. So even if the phone can run it much better, it can't put it out to a TV any better. It's not going to replace consoles like that, is it? It's like, it's interesting to see because you do have this conversation on whether small form factor hardware is going to develop at a rate that that makes cloud technology less relevant, cloud streaming less relevant. Why would you need to cloud stream if the hardware that can run these games is that small and that portable? But then at the moment, I mean, this device is a long way behind. So how far away is the Switch 2 from the consoles? I mean, Activision Blizzard said in court that they put Switch 2 being, or Nintendo's next console, being broadly equivalent to the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Recent talk from Gamescom is that it's a fair way ahead of those devices, but not Series X, PlayStation 5 kind of level. Wayne, won't the new Switch be able to play better games? Oh, we hope so. Or even the same games, but better. Remake Station 5, it's a nice option, but you still need to develop the games for it. It's not as easy as 163, just another platform. So an iPhone 15 Pro Max is easily 1,500. Yeah. Yes, Replicant, the Switch has that NVIDIA tech that hopefully makes it viable as a TV device, and probably will, at least in terms of ray tracing, outperform those other consoles. But who knows? It's Nintendo, and I don't get too carried away with any of that stuff. Playing this on a phone in your pocket isn't a game changer. It's not for me because I never play like that. Never play on a small screen like that. I'm interested in its capacity as a docked device, because I do play things on a TV or a virtual reality headset. I know that a lot of people do play on these smaller devices though, so it is interesting. Like, it is fascinating to watch the divergent technologies race to give you good experiences, but it always raises that question, like, would you really want to play Resident Evil on a screen that size? Like, it's not going to be scary. It's tiny. Zombies can't hurt you when they're in the palm of your hand. And it's the same, like, you wouldn't play a lot of the games that I enjoy on a TV. If I had access to play them on a phone, I wouldn't want to. And I get that that's me, that's not everyone. Some people are quite happy to play like that, but yeah, I'm just going to keep an eye from a distance and see how that plays out. How long will the battery last on that? Well, Illegal Dad, that's also a good question. And what will you do when you are receiving text messages and WhatsApp calls? Ignore them all because you're in the middle of Resident Evil. I don't know. It's not for me gonna shake things up very much, this iPhone. I think the splash that we're seeing now as people discover what it can do is about as turbulent as it's going to get, at least for this iteration. Maybe in a few years down the line, as things get further and further ahead, maybe things will change a bit more. On the go, it sounds fun to pull out your phone and play some good 2D games. Well, there you go, Jizza, but that's what I mean in terms of the overlap in terms of content and audience. You don't need an iPhone 15 Pro to play some 2D games. You can do that on your Samsung Galaxy from 5 years ago. But you can actually play console games on your mobile with Game Pass. Yeah, I mean, that's the streaming advantage. Oh. You can't see a major pickup from publishers for iPhone games. Well, Apple do have the advantage that if they wanted to pursue games properly, like if they wanted to get into that space, they do have a full ecosystem of hardware. So it wouldn't be persuading them to make games for an iPhone 15. It would be persuading them to make games for an iPhone 15 that potentially can hit the console space, can hit the Mac space, and can hit the Vision VR space. Like, they could build an ecosystem there. They have got a ridiculous fan base that would probably throw money at them. So they could like try and disrupt things from that angle. Just I don't think that the phone itself will be a big part of it. Episode 13, I banned you from practicing. Stop it. You're going to have to play on a Switch to keep things fair and even. Can you get Party Animals on the Switch? Does it have like a 30 frames per second mode? Apple have the advantage of loads of customers who are complete suckers. Yes, Tom. That, like, complete suckers usually quite willing to spend too much money on things. So, but then they've had that for a long time and they haven't pushed into gaming yet. So who knows what they want to do. Steam Deck is huge, not too portable. Yeah, like phone does have that advantage in that you're going to have it with you anyway, rather than lugging a gaming device around. So, right, let's do Tokyo Game Show, and we're going to start with this Swery Suda. What was it called? It's like Hotel Barcelona or something like that, isn't it? YouTube. No, wrong browser. One moment, I need to put my wine down and find my keyboard. So Tokyo Game Show kicked off today with... Oh no, I just turned my Quest on. My delicious Quest Pro. Oh, how I like that device. It kicked off with the Xbox showcase. Was Hotel Barcelona at the Xbox One, or was that shown later? Hotel Barcelona is a collaboration between legendary quirky devs and directors, Swery and Suda51, who... what are their games called? We've got the Dark Dreams one was one of them. You've got Lollipop Chainsaw. What's the really janky one that came out on the Nintendo system that got like 50 in its Metacritic aggregate, but people loved it anyway? It got a sequel more recently, but it was like a cult hit weird game. I think that one was Suda51. I really can't remember what it was called. And Killer is Dead, that was another one, wasn't it? From one of those two. I get them confused because they both have a very similar reputation as eccentric game producers who make things that may or may not get cult followings, maybe complete flops, maybe entertaining. The story of this game, though, as they tell it, is it sounds like a disaster. So let's bring the trailer up. GameSpot, Xbox. That's the whole digital broadcast. I don't want that. Looks like it was at Xbox though, so I'm going to flick that channel up. Hotel Barcelona, here it is. Hotel Barcelona announced trailer. It's an original idea by Suda51 and produced by Swery from blah 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 blah. Should we have some sound? Is there sound? It's not yet. Okay, so I've not seen this. This is new to me.
Is that me?
So it looks freaking awful. But you don't judge these things on first impressions.
This place is trapped with some type of
Lollipop Chainsaw was fun.
We don't specialize in sausages here. We specialize in sausages.
You can't trust this man. He's not the person you think he is.
A shark.
Okay.
That was a shark.
Rise and shine, Bernstein.
It's definitely...
Begin.
Don't you know that hitchhiker is a derogatory term? And I will permit no manner of discrimination.
I don't know what to say.
All the bigots, even if I need to rip
It's
them right
definitely heavily reliant on the quirk factor over and above looking like an actually fun to play game, I think.
That campground's cursed.
Like, anyone playing this is going to be playing it because they want to see some wacky shit. Right? Or am I wrong? Are people watching this thinking that looks snappy and fun? I want to see some quirky weird shit, so it might turn out to be something that I enjoy, but that was also like, what on earth did I just look at? The story behind it, though, sounds like a disaster. So Swery and Suda51, I can't remember which way around it was. I think Suda51 asked Swery to announce that they were going to be collaborating on a game. Just like that. Just announce that we're collaborating on a game. Please, mate, I'll make it up to you. Just say it. Just say it because my family's here and I've not brought anything to show. Just announce that we're working on a game. And they did. And they announced that they're collaborating on a game. There was no game at that point. There was no concept. They hadn't worked together or done anything. They just like, yeah, we're collaborating. And then they followed it up with some discussions and like conceptualizing of the idea. And then it must have been Suda51 that was like giving this talk on, giving this story of how it happened. Said usually this kind of stuff doesn't amount to anything, but Swery went away and like built a prototype of the game, like pulled it together and made it into a real thing. This isn't like the story of a freaking disaster game. I don't know what is. It can't be good when it's made under these circumstances, which means it's probably going to end up being like the best thing ever. Except it did look terrible. This is going to get like 3 out of 10. It's going to be awful. That story can't end well. Song sounds like Crazy Train by Black Sabbath. I didn't have it quite loud enough to hear, but you could be right. One little improvement that I made on my streaming setup, because I figured I might as well slightly tweak things. The OST will now quiet itself if I forget to mute it while I'm playing trailers. It will just duck away in the background to near silence. So that's handy for me. Looks very bad. It did look very bad. There's a try Blasphemous 2. It's great, and you're not a Souls guy. It's on, because you recommended it so strongly, it is on my list to get to, but I don't know when. It's really difficult to get onto things. Maybe I'll make it a game that I review. That gives me more opportunities to play things if I can ever get my freaking PC working to get on with it. That's the thing, by the way. I do reviews now. I have a special system in place that we can talk about, but it might make more sense to talk about nearer to the time. Yes, review. Stop yelling at me. I'm trying. My PC broke. What else was there? So that was Hotel Barcelona. I hope it turns out better than it looks. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. What else have we got? So we'll start with Xbox. I think Capcom and maybe Square Enix have been about today as well. So Final Fantasy Rebirth has been shown a lot more. It's been revealed that it's got like quality and performance modes, and various bits of the story that I don't want to get into have been touched on. And that'll probably be incredible, because hooray for Final Fantasy. Yes, Yakuza's been shown, so let's start with the Xbox One. So I'm a sellout? What do you mean I'm a sellout, Baz Cryptkeeper? I said I'm going to do reviews. I didn't say I'm going to accept anything for free. I can't believe you called me a sellout. I have a plan for reviews. They're even going to have scores. This is the problem that I'm trying to... There's many problems that I'm trying to address. I look from the outside at the way that things are reviewed, and the "you're a sellout" conversation is a real one. Lots of people in that space are in it for free stuff, and you can really not take anything that they say very seriously. So there's the shill angle. That's difficult to overcome. The other one is the perpetual conversation on whether games should be scored, what it means. Scoring's ridiculous and all the rest of it. Can't compare games based on scores. I plan to mitigate both of those issues as best I can. Not taking any free stuff, that's one thing. And I'm going to have a scoring system. It's going to have two parts. It's going to rate games based on like ambition and scope, and then how well they execute within that scope. So a game like Hades might be like fairly small in scope. It might be like a C if I were to do it by letters, which I haven't decided yet. Like a C scope game that executes freaking well, so it gets a really high, like 98 or something. C98 for Hades. Whereas a game like Starfield would probably be like an S rate for ambition and scope, but not so high for execution, because you have to acknowledge the flaws and things. And then you can give Starfield a score that's not higher or lower than Hades' score, because they're different entities that shouldn't have their numbers banded side by side like that. It wouldn't make any sense. This is my idea for how I'm going to score games anyway. Scores are daft, but a rating is required. Exactly, Tom. So they do serve a purpose. You need an at a glance understanding of how good a game is. Scores do serve a purpose, and that's the bit that always gets missed in the argument. There's like a really strong argument against scores, which I understand because I agree. Scores are terrible. They don't work for games. They're too complicated. Gaming is broad. But dismissing scores entirely isn't the answer either. And I figured rather than sit on the sidelines yelling about how I think things could be better, why don't I just have a go and make it do my little bit towards making it better by doing it the way I think it should be done. So that's going to happen. Don't be scared of numbers. You don't have to add any of them together or anything. Shield sounds like a segue for the Paris story. It was not a segue for a story like that because we're talking about this thing that we're talking about, the Tokyo Game Show. So someone yelled a game. It began with P. Who was that? It was... Can't see one that begins with P. Let's go for looking at the whole thing. My mouse is also oversensitive. I ruin everything on my bloody PC since having to reinstall the whole thing. Power World. Where was Power World? That wasn't at the Xbox One, was it? Because it's not on this list that I'm looking at. I will get the Power World thing. I've heard of that before. Somebody else was saying that's a nice game. Either I'm not putting that into YouTube. No. It was at the Xbox One. So why aren't Xbox telling me that it was? Let's have a little look here. I'm not going to open all of these, but I wasn't around when the Xbox show was on, so I haven't seen these firsthand. There's a My Hero Ultra Rumble trailer. Have a little look at that. Xbox sound. I don't want subtitles, captions. I like a bit of anime. Let's see what this is. Is it 3 players, 8 teams? Okay. Can you make your own hero as well? Or do you have to be the cast? It looks ugly. Okay. Aim to be number 1, of course. That's what you do. That's enough of that. Any of you like anime games in general? Not specifically the My Hero one that we saw there, but... There's like a couple of distinct subgenres of anime games, and I don't normally touch many of them. The ones that have you flying around, trying to do combat in mid-air, like, they just become a bit button mashy for me. And the ones that have you running around on ground doing meaningless side quests, those don't usually play out to my favour either. Kakarot, did you play that, Tony? I wanted to play that. I played a bit of it. Certain parts of it were done really well, and then it became really weirdly like, oh, you ran out of budget for other parts of it. And too much chasing little orbs around. Didn't have time to chase orbs around. Peter, you wish me well. It is true that all games can't be reviewed the same, but every fucker wants to compare them. So if you preface your reviews stand separate to the others, it might work. It's not a perfect system, Michaels. It's not a perfect system. It's very difficult to find a fair way to score games, but it's just, I don't know. It adds quite a lot more than just a score, I think. So hopefully worth doing. Hopefully worth doing. Let's get back to the trailers and see what's next. My Hero was underwhelming. Not least because it looked like a Switch game. Is Sonic an anime game? No. No, it's not. Because Sonic was a game first. So you can't have that. Yeah. What kind of Dragon Ball episode 13? Are you talking about any of the games? Or are you just talking about the IP series, manga, all the rest of it? Budokai 4 is supposed to be coming soon. I don't know what those games are. You've never heard Sonic speak Japanese? Why not? Because Sonic was a game first, it's pretty damn anime. No, it's not. It's a game. Can't do that. Sonic is not Japanese. Yuji Naka would argue with you from his prison cell. Thank you, Peter. I am going to do it. And I'm going to start with, like, pointless games that are already out. Just to get a feel for the format that my reviews will take. Get them taking shape, get them established, and then start thinking about other things. You have Budokai 1, 2, and 3 on the PlayStation 2, and 1 and 3 on the PlayStation 3. Either I'll play them in between Cyberpunk and Red Dead Redemption 2 and Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3 and Lies of P and Skyrim and Ghostwire Tokyo and bloody Forspoken and all of the games. All of the games. Yeah, sure. And by that point, Budokai 19 will probably be out as well. Monster Hunter question mark. Right, let's have a look at these. So, other trailers. Hotel Barcelona, don't need to watch that, just did. Wolong has DLC. Haven't played Wolong, so that doesn't matter. Does anybody here love Wolong? Should I play Wolong? I played it a tiny bit. Didn't decide to play it any more than that. Apollo Justice. So the Ace Attorney trilogy and a new Ace Attorney trilogy are all coming out. So the original 3 games coming to Game Pass, and then at some point early next year, another trilogy starring this Apollo protagonist are coming as well. Visual novels, never played them. Everybody knows the posters and the artwork. Will I play them when they come to Game Pass? Isla, would I like them? I reckon I don't know what they are. Free Yuji Naka. It's a good hashtag. Feudal China. Feudal China Neo. I've not played Neo either. Generally games that like sell themselves off the back of being difficult weren't massively appealing to me. And then I went and played some of them and was like, oh, actually these are fun games, not difficult games. Betrayed by a reputation that wasn't necessarily accurate. I say, I'll try Liza P and get destroyed. I hear that one is pretty tough. Say what? Ace Attorney, Isla. Ace Attorney games, are they games that I would enjoy if they were free on Game Pass in the way that they're going to be anytime now? Neo is pretty good, but kind of grindy. Neo 2 was supposed to be quite a big step up from the first one, wasn't it? But a lot of reading. I love reading. I read all the time. Octopath Traveler 2 Xbox and Windows announcement trailer. I'm definitely going to play that. From what I gather, it's not coming to Game Pass though, so I'll just play it on whatever platform I can get it cheap.
Vast world of adventure.
It's a vast world of adventure.
Every road is yours to take.
Every road is yours to take, but it had a boat on the screen. I'm so confused. Octopath Traveler though, I played through the entirety of the first one. It was part good and part bad. But I definitely want to play the second one. So, isn't it already on Steam? That's yes, Dennis. It was a bit weird that they listed it as an Xbox and PC trailer, but I'm assuming they mean like the Microsoft Store, because it is definitely already on Steam. Yes. And Octopath Traveler 1 obviously was a Game Pass game, and that's where I played it. So, slightly disappointed to see that 2 isn't following it on that path, but it is what it is. Then we've got some Exoprimal Season 2 trailer. Don't need to see that. And yet we're going to, because Exoprimal is so wacky that it might be entertaining to look at. I don't have that installed anymore. It was more fun than it deserves to be, Exoprimal, so maybe I should have it installed ready for those Sundays, or I would have it installed if my NVMe drive hadn't died. Oh no. It's funny because dances and cosmetics are gross and off-putting, but Capcom do them better than most.
Make sure you're tried with whatever new equipment you get.
The final mission will be escape.
They have no place in a game that you pay for though. Blah. Ace Attorney is basically a text adventure, yeah.
The escape device will activate shortly.
So you're saying that I shouldn't play it? That's fine. I've not got time to play it anyway. Okay, that was whatever game we just saw. Exoprimal. Was there anything else at Microsoft's? You said that Power World was there, but it's not listing on their YouTube channel. We've got Party Animals, Hotel Barcelona, PUBG, go away. Exoprimal, Miniko's Night Market Crafting trailer. That's all I've got. I'm going to find Power World separately. Power World. The other ones that are probably worth looking at today, and we are like getting towards the end, but the other ones that are worth looking at today, I'll look at Power World now. There's Final Fantasy I don't want to touch on too much, but Dragon's Dogma 2 had a gameplay reveal too, and I want to have a little look at that. Again, I haven't seen it yet. First trailer from 2021. Came on Power 12 hours ago, but it's on IGN. I don't want to go on IGN. Pocket Pair, that's where I'll go. Oh, Pocket Pair made the game. Good, I got the correct channel. So here's Power World. You can... Pokemon with guns. Oh, it does literally have guns, I see. Yeah. This is playable now, right? Like there's a beta or an early access or something. You can play it somewhere, can't you? I like that there's guns. But I do want to kill every single creature that I've seen so far. Don't know about that one. Don't know about that one. No, and it's not like released yet, but I thought you could play it. I swear I've seen people talking about it as like a good game to relax in whatever form it was already in. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm confusing it for something entirely different, but... Game of the generation. Oof. JTC X huge package. Power World Pokemon with guns. Yes. It's quite a name. Quite a name. Dokev, whatever it's called. What happened to that, Tony? Your favorite? Looks like a challenge, Wank. I mean, you can take it that way if you wish, Baz. Oops, didn't mean to open that. Right. What else did we have? So that was it for the Xbox One. So I'm not sure that it was, but that was all it's showing me. Did you miss the questions? No, they come at the end, episode 13. At the end. You can stick them in there. Anybody that wants to stick any particular questions in the box, you're very welcome to. We'll get to them. I would like to look at Dragon's Dogma 2 from today. Did anything else come out? Did Capcom show anything cool in their show besides Dragon's Dogma? Dragon. Oh. Rip it. You got distracted and died in Minecraft. Hooray! Tony. What are we talking about? The Capcom, we get a not really. It's a first trailer from PlayStation thing. GameSpot have it. I don't want to go there. Capcom USA. Here we go. This is a 9-minute gameplay deep dive, so I'm just going to leave it in the background if it'll open. Actually, I am going to bring the sound up just because I like the way that I've got it muted. If it's too wordy, I'll turn it down. Not wordy at all right now. That's good. This I'm looking forward to. I've not played the first one. It's been on my to-do list for so freaking long. I'll slot it in between Red Dead Redemption and Starfield and Baldur's Gate and Cyberpunk and all the rest of them. Get some Dragon's Dogma 1 in. Try and get them all out of the way before this comes out. Alongside Tales of Arise. Don't give me words. No words! Sorry, I shouted.
Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 2 is a gameplay designed to challenge your creativity.
Right, they're still talking, so we'll turn the sound off. Red wine. Yes, Baz, it is. It is red wine. It is a very sweet, almost Ribena red wine. You lost all your tools and iron. Sorry. I shouldn't have laughed. Blood. Have I checked out the Witchfire gameplay trailer? No, I haven't. I'll get to that next. This looks good. Dragon's Dogma 2 looks good. Even the Rogue doesn't look entirely shit from what I've seen. Like, it looks like a pretty fun class to play. It's the only bit that I've seen was they showed the Rogue and you have to try and get opportunities to cling to big monsters to stab them while you hang from their backs. Fighter looks reasonably dynamic. Like, Yeah, some parrying and some lightning and some charging and some cutting stuff down with a sword. Yeah, I want to play this game. I don't know. Dragon's Dogma, the first one, had, by reputation, I haven't played it myself, by reputation it didn't particularly guide you through a narrative. It was more a live your own adventure in the world kind of deal, but this looks cool. This looks really good. I'm excited, and Capcom are on like good form in general, so for their game to look good, it's probably going to be good. It's not like Crimson Desert where you look at it and wonder what it's actually gonna. Assuming that character's supposed to be floating. Yeah, she's supposed to be floating. That's one of my most anticipated, despite not knowing much about it. Because it just looks like quite a fresh take on things that are otherwise kind of standardized. Like, you wouldn't expect Elder Scrolls 6 to have combat like this. This is like putting quite a bit of emphasis on movement and kind of physicality in the combat, and I like it. I like it. You think you'll die. Don't die. Pawn system was really fun. That's Pawn, P-A-W-N. Is that like hiring mercenaries? Tony, I'm not going to search whatever you've just typed because you're Tony. Peter, am I a sweet red man? I wouldn't like. I drink actual red wine as well, but the very sweet reds are like a child's drink. They're delicious. Sometimes children get the best stuff. The first one felt like a B game. Yeah, that's fair. Am I going to play Red Dead Redemption 2 in VR? I couldn't say that out loud, Tony. Take-Two might come and ban my whole stream. So the Red Dead Redemption 2 VR mod is a little tricky to get hold of now, because they struck it down along with the Grand Theft Auto 5 VR mod. You can still get them. They are a bit aged, and I'm not sure it's worth the risk with the trouble I've had with my PC. You create a minion and other players could take them on their quest. So when you came back to the game, they will be leveled up and had learned skills. Oh, that's neat. I assume they'll probably try and carry that forwards into this one. Titanfall. Yeah, I'll play some Titanfall at some point, Tony. It's kind of important to make them good looking. Yeah, everyone took the good looking quest companions out. Oh, gamers, what are you like? That's Dragon's Dogma. I'm going to leave that playing because it looks cool and I'm excited. When does Dragon's Dogma 2 come out? This looks like a game that's like fairly far along, but also a game that could have a very broad scope. Game that could be quite far along, but also still have a very long way to go. Witchfire was the other one that he said, so I can't wrap up until I've looked at Witchfire. Which means it's time for you to feed me a topic. What are we talking about? What else is there? Oh, that's enough Dragon's Dogma. I'll bring up Witchfire, but you are still always welcome to bring up topics as we go. I'm gonna hide this. OST is playing because I didn't have any YouTube sound. Oh, I'm happy with the changes to my stream setup. That's good. They announced the date for Minecon. When's that? When is the date for Minecon, and what are you expecting from Minecon? Are they going to do another vote for the 3 things to include? Dragon's Dogma should be good. It looks good. And Capcom are on fire. Also, oh my goodness, it's Capcom. You know what that means? Dragon's Dogma is very quickly going to be playable in virtual reality, assuming that they're using the RE engine again. Tony. No, Tony. No, I do not. Unfortunately, I can think of no quality that compensates, no quality to mitigate that. I'm afraid I am just what I am. Witchfire, gameplay overview. The astronauts, do they make it? One day ago. Hopefully this is a good trailer. I don't like the re-upload kind of channels. Right, here's Witchfire. It's got fire. It's made by the astronauts. Good, I got the right channel. Was it just a regular fire or was it a Witchfire? I can't tell. Ah, Sea of Thieves knockoff. It's got water. Wasn't Witchfire that dumped their single-player campaign mid-production and made it a roguelike? It is fashionable to go roguelike. Don't need to make as much game if you're asking people to replay it over and over again. Oh, I should have symbolic
prayers and the substance running through his veins.
Nope, don't like the trailer. Who needs bots when you got Sony? If you write an article, can you read it on my? Can I read it or you read it? Can I read it? If I write my article, can you read I on your show? Oh, you want me to read it? Yeah, I would think so. Oh, I remember this. I have seen this before, like a long time ago. Yeah, I like red stuff. It's definitely a shame if they turned it into a roguelike when it was intended to have a full campaign. But still. Avowed, I'm really looking forward to Avowed. Who said Avowed? Why are we saying Avowed? This doesn't visually look like Avowed, but Avowed is definitely super high on my like most wanted kind of list. Alongside Fable, like alongside Elder Scrolls 6, Microsoft are in a very good place for high fantasy RPGs, aren't they? But Avowed should be one of the best. Obsidian typically do write their characters and stories very well. Nah, this game looks nice. It's got like smoke and red stuff. Are they still talking?
Still brazenly cling to life.
Yeah, no, they're talking too much. I don't like that. Wait a minute. The only game that you're looking forward to and Fable. Baz, do you just not like many things? Avowed and Fable is... You just have like a really specific palette, or... You must like play games that aren't high fantasy first-person RPGs and stuff, right? You love roguelikes and then death happens. I don't. I very rarely like roguelikes. Same as Metroidvanias, I don't typically want to retread. The exception for me is Hades, because Hades always felt good. Every run was fun, and I always wanted to do another. And there's not been really any other roguelikes that have done that for me. Even Synapse in VR didn't do that for me. I do want to go back to Synapse when I can play it on my treadmill, but Synapsey Synapse. Baz didn't say he's not enjoying Starfield, because you can't look forwards to Starfield when you've already got it. Okay, that's enough of that trailer. I did like it though. Good shout on Witchfire. What else have we got? Shall we go on to the questions now? You would have said Street Fighter, but I would have had another field day. Yes. Yeah, you do need to be quite specific, Peter. What other SFs are there so I can mix it up for next week? Not really Soldier of Fortune, because everybody would put the O in there. Gotta be some others though. Games that have the initials SF. Wait, you're making lunch? Uh-oh, I was making lunch. We can't have the questions yet. That's what you mean, Tom? You don't like roguelikes? Because death and replaying is meh. Though FromSoft are amazing. Contradictory. FromSoft don't... It's not like a roguelike though, is it? I get what you mean. Like, there is some similarity in there. Especially in the older ones that make you walk a bit further on each death, but... good point, good point. I do still need to try and get through Returnal as well, because Returnal did have some quality to it, but it did have that roguelike flaw. I tried, did anyone play Rogue Legacy 2? That was reviewed so highly. It wasn't widely reviewed, but it was like, it was the highest scored Xbox exclusive for a while when it came out. It's not still Xbox exclusive, but it was for a while. I paid money for that game and I regretted it. Did not have fun. But it's that's a 2D side-scrolling kind of. I'm going to bring up a trailer for that. Why not? Why not? I played it a fair amount, but yeah, roguelike. What game did I say? Rogue Legacy 2. That's what I said. Totally forgot the name of it as I was typing it. Who made it? Where's the trailer? Oh, here's an Xbox trailer. That would do. Do you have words? X-Men Rogue is the only one you play with. You can't, Tony. You'll die. You know, it was a well-seen thing, Tom, because you're right that there's lots of other circumstances that will see you repeating your play over and over again. Whee! I've got nothing to say about this. I don't really know why I'm playing the trailer. I was just wondering if anybody else had tried it. Starfield. Sonic Forces. Yes. Sonic Forces I'll go with. Thank you for that. That's going to be annoying for Peter. I'm sure he appreciates you bringing it up. How far off of questions are we? I'm floundering. I don't know what to say. No one's giving me topics. I'm playing a Rogue Legacy 2 trailer for no reason. And yet there are still, I can see numbers now, there are 19 people still here. You're all mad. You're all mad. Why would you be here? I suck. Thanks. 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes. Give me a 2-minute topic. Okay, calm down, Rogue Legacy. Comeback sound. Yay, the OST just brings itself back to life. I'm so pleased with that. Happens to be quite a quiet part of the OST right now, but you never played it. I have. Don't recommend it. Is anyone playing Mortal Kombat yet? 13 of them are you. Well, thank you, Baz. I appreciate all 13 of you. Xbox's new controller. We did speak about it a little bit, episode 13. Are you looking forward to it? Are you buying it? I want it. I want the DualSense Edge as well, though. And I want the Elite version of the new Xbox controller. I can appreciate some haptics, but I need my paddles. You're going to get Mortal Kombat 1 soon. Get the Switch version, please. I love the Switch version. Has everyone seen that? In fact, this is one occasion. See, when IGN make a video and they put effort into it, I'm happy to show it. So I'm going to find that. Mortal Kombat 1. I've not actually seen this, but I think they did a little side-by-side of what it looks like on the Switch. Yeah, this is the best. It's too funny. And I kind of love it. It's a weird one because Mortal Kombat 1 is like next gen only. You can't get it on the Xbox One and you can't get it on the PlayStation 4. But for some reason they did put out a Switch version. And it's incredible. Like, never has there been a game toned down that hard. Wow, it's amazing. I love it. And it still costs 70 quid. The Switch version of Mortal Kombat, that is, not the controller. The controller will just be... The controller will also be 70 quid. It's replacing the standard Xbox controller. Look at it. This is so awesome. Like, obviously I wouldn't want to play it like that, but to see that it exists is neat. Just goes to show that actually you can tone down anything if you tone it down hard enough. can run your next gen games on anything if you're willing to make them look like this. What? I don't want the Switch version more than I want the other version. Custom Mech Wars was also shown. What do you mean, Dennis? Custom Mech Wars in what? I like Custom Mech Wars. Or is this an entire game of Mech Wars, like a new Mech Warrior or something? As you're waiting for the complete version of Mortal Kombat on the Switch. I don't like Mortal Kombat as a game particularly, but but this is amazing. That was the name of the game. Custom Mech Wars is the name of the game. Peter, if I am on the Switch, I would be happy. And if not, upgrade. Wait, to be fair, Asa, if you are on the Switch, you would be happy. And if not, upgrade. If I was on the Switch, I would be happy. You mean I'd be like grateful that I got to play the game rather than not being able to play the game if they hadn't done a release at all. The Earth Defense... Okay, I'm going to look at that in a second, Dennis. See what it is. Did your review question come up? Hang about, they're there, I must have returned. So I'm going to... I'm enjoying this trailer though. Let me just see how long it is. Oh, there's too long left. Okay, I'm going to look at Custom Mech Wars. You can all watch the Switch comparison yourself if you want. It's so funny. Right, Custom Mech Wars. Custom Mech. Custom mechanical keyboard, no. So there was a trailer 3 weeks ago on the PlayStation channel. 19 hours ago, that's the most recent trailer. Here we go. Custom Mech Wars. Bandai Namco just got a nice friendly publisher that usually is pretty fair with their pricing and stuff. Tony, I'm not a massive fan of IGN, but that was a good, like, they put work into that trailer. It was credit where it's due. Happy to watch like their actual content in video form, just not their trailer re-uploads. So, can I blow up all of these buildings with a custom mech? It's not pretty, but I don't need it to be pretty as long as I can mash everything. It's enough Japanese yelling. Colourful. Definitely colourful. Oh, I like the way it prances as well. Yes, they're prancy mechs. You can... I'd say you can tackle all kinds of terrain if you can master the prancing, but all of the terrain is very flat. So actually any kind of wheels would have done the trick. This has just like usurped Armored Core 6 as my favourite mech game that I've never played. Oh, you can't go to sleep. I've not done the questions yet. Right, right. We're doing the questions. Mech painting and prance. That looks funny. It's a shame the landscapes... Yes, you can blow up the buildings. I want it. Even though it looks ridiculous, it does look fun. PlayStation 5 and Steam. Limited platform release. Dog shit core. No, that looks fun. Admit it. You want a prancing mech. Okay, doing the questions and then we'll wrap it up. You're not allowed to do the questions, sorry, I'm doing them. Tony asked... Oh, no, Tony, I'm not doing that. Isla, what does it say? Make me translate. I've not got an automatically translate it here kind of button. Or do I? No, I don't. You think it says he's going to say something? He knows where I live. Okay, I'm not sure you do know where I live, but I know where I live. So, yeah. Next question, please. Only thing that looked good was the woman's legs. There was not a woman in that trailer, Baz. Gee, you're like hornier than Tony. Next question. What does Asa stand for? Stop lying. Hey. Hey now, you know. Next question, please. The usual question is what does it stand? I don't know, what's it short for? But yeah, when it's all capital. Think of a game. We did SF for Sonic Forces. Is there an ASA? Episode 13 asked, if a train leaves Bath Spa Station at 8 AM, travelling at about 80 miles per hour, then at the same time, a train leaves London Paddington, travelling at 95 kilometres, please explain in 6 words why you give Starfield a 9. A 9 doesn't fit my scale, episode 13. You're going to have to be patient. Like I say, I'm becoming a reviewer. And Starfield's review, I am not far into it enough to say, but it's not going to be 9 because that's not my scale. I've got a scale. It's coming. Until then, you're going to have to keep on asking every week. Good question. Good question. Next one, please. I thought there would be some kind of fruit involved, to be honest. Baz, not becoming a sellout because I'm not taking anything for free. Doing a review doesn't make you a sellout. Especially even when I do review stuff that's not out yet. I will be redeeming it, not on my account. I will be taking nothing free. I'm going to be the most honest person that there is. Tony, buy Office 2021 or subs to 365. I didn't know you can still buy Office 2021. And I don't know the answer. Tony, why do you want Office? Office sucks. Do neither. Use the whatever facilities your work provides for you. And when you're not using them, stay the hell away from Word and all the rest of it. But yes, if you can find a version of Office that you can buy for 17 quid, that clearly makes more sense than subscribing. If you use more than one computer, you could, presumably when you buy old versions of Office, they could be redeemed on a certain number of computers rather than just one. Another segue for the Paris story. I'm not telling... There's not a story, actually. I'll get that out of the way really quickly just for you, Replicant. Paris hates me more so than the other way around. Because I said on a Go Live show that he's a shill, basically. And that's the whole story. There was a particular... He just... so Kind of Funny had Phil Spencer on an interview. And I said on Go Live, it's not all that long ago, like a few months ago, I said that when Paris raised his hand, I assumed that he was going to ask for free stuff because, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he tends to ask for free stuff quite a lot. Based on him asking for free stuff quite a lot. He didn't like it, and he got big mad, and he DM'd me a lot of insults, and he's said various things behind my back at in-person events. Like, he does not like me. Is what it is. Not a lot more I can say on that. could read the messages, but I'm not going to. Full story. Of course he is. I trust his opinion as far as I can throw it. But there's, like I've said many times, there's worse things. I understand why people would get into like creating content and all that sort of stuff, and would accept free stuff because you get some cool shit. It's not like a massive heinous crime, but it also is like credibility goes out the window with it. I always say that every week about everyone, whether I like them or dislike them. That's the trade-off. You take the free stuff, you trade away the credibility. But I mean, in his words, he never asked for free stuff, and the evidence doesn't matter. So yeah, he really doesn't like me, and I don't. I'm more neutral. He does some good things, he speaks positively and all the rest of it, but what can you do, eh? Apparently I'm an asshole and I need to be more humble. And I've been wrong sometimes. And various other things. Now you know. Well, I'm good all the time, episode 13. Or not. GameSpot still sells Office 21 lifetime keys for 30-ish. That's like probably worth everyone picking up a few. Right, next question. Hang about. It's already a next question prepped for me. Rock music is the best music. No other type of music has literally created new genres. Tony, I rather suspect other kinds of music have created new genres. But I'm not putting down your preference for rock. That wasn't really a question though. I don't know what else to do with that one. So, next question, please. Oh no, stuck again. Good thing I've got my umbrella. You love rock, but rock uses all other genres. I don't even know the definition. Like, where does rock end and other genres begin? I don't know. Music's confusing and wonderful. Peter, if I ever experience something strange in my life that I cannot easily explain, that might make me feel there are greater unknown things as powers in the universe. Existence counts. It's a pretty weird thing. I've never had like an experience that I would put down to haunting or paranormal activity. Anything along those lines, if that's what you mean. Tony, you knew that Peter would understand. I understood. I understood. How dare you? I don't know if that counts as an answer, Peter. Have you? Have you seen something profound that's challenged your understanding of your very existence? Tom has asked, will my review scores be oi, whoosh, or blur? No, actually. I really thought quite a lot about how to do review scores. And there will actually be like some vaguely understandable metric. I always talk about respecting ACG's reviews in particular, and he always does like buy now, wait, never touch as his kind of categorization. That's not quite right for me. Like, it's good for him, but I have my own thing that I need to do. Tony, you saw crusty socks under your bed and said I should wash those, and is that your profound thing, Tony? If you get a question like that again, just have a puff on my crack pipe and laugh. My crack pipe was not within arm's reach, I'm afraid. I'll bear it in mind for next time. What are my thoughts on those hilarious Mexican aliens? Honestly, like, they're quite small. I don't think we're in any danger. I don't know. That's about all I've got. I was like, oh, cool. I can take one of them. No worries. We get in a fight with the aliens and they're like 2 foot tall. No problem. Right, next question, please. Oh, interesting. How do I know Isla and how did we meet? Wow. Wow. Good question. I'd have to unfold other secrets to explain that one. Which, like, I will at some point, but not without her permission as well, because that would be a double betrayal. Spill the beans. No, there's not any exciting beans to spill, I'm afraid, Baz. It's not like a wild story or anything, but I know her from cheerleading practice, as Tony would say. Your second question is going to seem strange, Peter. Your first one may have seemed strange, but that's okay. Strange is welcome. Next question, please. Oh, I can hear Final Fantasy VII music and I really want to play it. Nightclub, no. It's getting further and further. Next question, please. That's a lot of skulls, Tony. Soundtrack is so good. Final Fantasy VII remake took it up a little notch, and yes, it is. Do I read Fortean Times? And if not, why not? I've never heard of it, Peter. Is it a supernatural, paranormal, very serious news publication? I didn't get your answer, Peter, on the question that you asked the first time about whether you've seen anything that challenged your understanding of the universe. Games, but no, I don't know. I have missed something. It's a light-hearted look at the strange. But Peter, are you what's your stance? Are you a believer? You're talking paranormal, aren't you? Rather than, I don't know what else you could be referencing there, but Baz, you're just horny, and we both know it. I don't remember where you came from. You're one of those imaginary friend parasites from Rick and Morty. Still, like, trying to figure out if it's a real person or not. But someone's clicking through these questions every now and again, or something. Next one, please. Tony, you believe in Casper? He is real, and Isla's first boyfriend. Is she the one that killed Casper? Isla. We are talking the friendly ghost, right? Or is there a different Casper that I don't know about? I was obviously banned from watching Casper and most other things as a child. Very difficult childhood. Replicant, I wouldn't catch you staying a night in one of those haunted places, not even for money and stuff. Peter, you're just a regular Joe. I wasn't accusing you of being a ghost. Next question, please. You're not a supernatural freak, just a regular human being. You're gonna have to miss a Baldur's Gate next month? No. I think my wife is out next Friday as well, so there will be some Baldur's Gates missed. But that's okay, you just say when and we'll figure it out. Peter is not real, he's a ghost in my chat. Yeah, doesn't even count as a view. Is that it? Did we run out of questions? We have run out of questions. What's that? She's 25 past 11. How do these... Like, do the maths. I sit on Go Live for 3 hours and say 6 words. And then Thursday comes around and it's like 2.5 hours go by. I don't understand. Doesn't make sense. I can't be the same person between those 2 days. Yet, here we are, 25 past 11. I wonder if Paris would hate the Thursday me as well as the Saturday me. I'm pretty sure he would. Pretty sure he would. That's it though. Today is done. So, what's next? What's the day today? It's Thursday, obviously. So tomorrow I should have Baldur's Gate 3 in the evening. My PC is on it's on the mend. It's on the way back. Things are working and getting more reliable. I think this stream has been relatively smooth, so that's encouraging. Your Pokemon fainted. Okay. Tony, yes, quite so. Final Fantasy Remake is on sale on Steam. So my hesitation there, Replicant, is that it's still quite expensive whenever it's been on sale. Yeah, 40 quid. 40 quid is a day one PC release price. That's what it should have released at. 40 or 50. It was like a year after the PlayStation version. It was supposed to suffer quite badly from shader cache stutter, which made me a little reluctant to get it. 40 quid is, yeah, like that should be the launch price, not the sale price. And now you should be telling me it's on sale for like 20 quid or something, and then I would pick it up and play it on PC. As it stands, I'm a little torn. I do want to play it again, and it would make sense to play the PC version, but it's going to be expensive and it's going to stutter. Then they never fixed it, and there we go. That's disappointing. I don't think it's a whole heap enhanced over the PlayStation 5 version either. So I might be better off playing it on console. I've not actually played the Intergrade DLC. I played it when it came out on the PlayStation 4 and I haven't gone back to it yet. Was waiting for the bestest possible version, but ultra wide, Tony, ultra wide sucks. I know there's ultra wide fans and they really love it, but I look at an ultra wide picture and go, yeah, like it's wide. But you could add more to the top and you'd have a regular picture that looked better. So I don't really understand like ultra wide fanaticism, but I am in the minority. Like a lot of people do enjoy it. I understand that. I see that. I recognize that. Wide is better than normal. Why don't you just get a normal TV, Tony, and some black tape to cover the top and bottom, and then every game will be ultra wide. Not a bad shout, that. I might do that. Meow. Yes, you're right, Isla. We do need to wrap up and finish this. So we're going to. So thank you, everyone, for coming through again. And that's all I got. So I will see you on future things. I still have a lot to recover on this PC to get things working. But I think these buttons... calm yourself. You need to go have that challenging wank and then come back when you're more clear of mind. My buttons still work, so I'm going to press one of them, and that is the end. Thank you, everybody, and I will see you in the near future.
Asa, Game On Daily.